نفسي بنور من فؤادي حينما رددت يا رب العباد.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, inshallah. We continue. Before the break, we had taken the hadith of the miswak, wherein the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, out of his mercy, shafaqah and rahmah for this ummah, he did not obligate us to use the miswak before every salah, to use the miswak with every single wudu. But nonetheless, it is still a very stressed sunnah of the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam. We went through the hadith of Uthman radiallahu ta'ala an, the most important hadith in this chapter, the hadith wherein he practically demonstrated the manner and method of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's ablution. And then he stated that whoever takes his ablution like this, and then he prays 2 rakats of salah, غُفِرَ لَهُ مَا تَقَدَّمَ مِنْ ذَنْبِهِ, his past sins are forgiven. We went through the hadith of Ali radiallahu ta'ala an, wherein he mentioned that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would do the mas over his head once, not thrice like when we wash our feet, not thrice like when we wash our face, but only once when it comes to the issue of the mas of the head. We went through the hadith of Abdullah bin Zayd al-Mazini radiallahu ta'ala an, wherein he explained the manner and method of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's making the mas of the head. And Abdullah bin Zayd al-Mazini radiallahu ta'ala an, he was from amongst those 2 Sahaba who laid claim that they had killed Musaylima al-Kadhab. Musaylima, the false prophet, the one who claimed prophethood and claimed that he would get revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wahshi radiallahu an and Abdullah bin Zayd, both of them had laid this claim that they had killed Musaylima al-Kadhab. And with that, inshallah, we continue with hadith number 34. وعن أبي هريرة رضي الله تعالى عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا استيقظ أحدكم من منامه فليستنثر 3 فإن الشيطان يبيت على خيشومه متفق عليه. This hadith narrated by Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala an, recorded by Imam al-Bukhari and Imam Muslim, that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that when any one of you awakes from his sleep, then he should blow out water from his nasal passages. Take note that istinshaq is when a person blows up water. He pulls up water into his nasal passages. And istinthar, as mentioned in this hadith, is when you blow out this water from your nasal passages. So the Prophet ﷺ is informing the Muslims that when you wake up from sleep during the evening, during the night, then the first thing you should do is blow up this water into your nasal passages, blow it out 3 times. Why? What's the reason? Because shaitan yabitu ala khayshūmihi, he spends the evening, he spends the night in your nasal passages. If the question is, how does he do this? How does he enter into our nasal passages? What is his size? What is his breadth? What is his weight? Then the answer is Allahu A'lam. We believe in what the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam stated. This hadith recorded by Imam al-Bukhari and Imam Muslim. The next hadith, hadith number 35. وعنه, and upon the authority of Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he states that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, إذا استيقظ أحدكم من نومه فلا يغمس يده في الإناء حتى يغسلها 3 فإنه لا يدري أين باتت يده متفق عليه وهذا لفظ للمسلم. This hadith recorded by Imam al-Bukhari and Imam Muslim also, that Abu Hurairah radiallahu anh states that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that when any one of you awakes from his sleep, then he should not take his hand and put it into his utensil wherein he keeps his water. If a person has a jug or he has a bowl, then he should not awake and take his hand before washing his hands and put it into this utensil. Why? فَإِنَّهُ لَا يَدْرِي أَيْنَ بَاتَتْ يَدُهُ, for verily this person does not know where his hand spent the night. And Imam al-Shafi'i rahimahullah stated with regards to this hadith, that the people of Hijaz, they were accustomed to making istijmar, that they would use stones when they went out to the visit of the toilet. And what would happen because of the great heat in Hijaz, the people would perspire during the evening. And while a person is asleep, he does not know where his hand spends the night. He does not know where he put his hand during the evening while he was asleep. So this is the reason that you might have touched some najasa while you did not know, while you were asleep. So the Prophet ﷺ is advising you that do not take your hand and put it into this utensil and maybe cause this water to become filthy. But what you should do is pour out the water, wash your hands, and then you can take your wudu, and then you can make use of this water. But a question, what happens if this Muslim, he spent his night and his hand might have been everywhere and anywhere? He woke up and he puts his hand into this utensil. He's got a 5-liter utensil and he puts his hand into it. He's done an act which is prohibited. He has done an act which is haram. But the question is, what is the ruling on that water? Has the water become now najis? What is the answer? Remember the rules that we had gone through in the first chapter of this book, the chapter of water. What did we say? That as long as you can point to that water and say, this is water, for as long as it has not changed in color, taste or smell by something which was najis, then the water is still water, it is still pure, and you have to use it. So this person, if he awoke and he put his hand into this water, if it did not change in any of those sifat, in any of those qualities, then he can use this water and the water will not be impure, but his act is an act which is prohibited and he should not have done that. The next hadith, hadith number 36. وعن لقيط بن صبرة رضي الله تعالى عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أسبغ الوضوء وخلل بين الأصابع وبالغ في الاستنشاق إلا أن تكون صائما أخرجه الأربع وصححه ابن خزيمة ولأبو داود في رواية إذا توضأت فمضمض. Hadith number 36, upon the authority of Laqit bin Sabira radiyallahu ta'ala an, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam informs us that asbighil wudu, make isbagh of your wudu. Isbagh is perfection. Give every limb its haqq when it comes to wudu. Do not rush with your wudu. Give every limb its haqq. So the Muslim does that. وَخَلِّلْ بَيْنَ الْأَصَابِعِ, and pass your fingers through the other hand, pass your fingers through the fingers. Also with regards to your feet, the hadith recorded by Imam At-Tirmidhi, that the Prophet ﷺ said that use your khinsar to make takhleel between your toes. Which hand does one use? Is it the right hand? Is it the left hand? Then the hadith does not speak about that matter, but based upon the general rule that we use the right hand for all acts of goodness, all acts of ibadat, all acts of sharaf, and we use the left to cleanse of filth, so we would say that the Muslim should use his khinsar of his left hand when he is making takhleel between his toes. Also, the Prophet ﷺ goes on to say, وَبَالِغْ فِي الْإِسْتِنْشَاقِ إِلَّا أَن تَكُونَ صَائِمًا, and go into extremes with regards to pulling up this water into your nasal passages. Istinshaq, taking up water into your nasal passages. Go into extremes. Make 100% sure that this water goes up into your nasal passages. إِلَّا أَن تَكُونَ صَائِمًا, except if you are fasting. This hadith is proof that there is a link between the nasal passage and the stomach. That's why the Prophet ﷺ is advising us, baligh fil istinshaq, go into extremes with regards to your nasal passages, drawing up water, except if you are fasting. Why? Because there is a chance that this water could go down and your fast could be broken. And that is the opinion of some of the scholars. This hadith is also based upon the issue of istinshaq. It is a proof for the principle sad al-dhara'i', that we try to close the doors to fitna. We try to close the doors to things that would lead to greater evil and greater harms. That this Muslim, although istinshaq is something which is legislated, we tell him that when you are fasting, do not do it. Leave out going to extremes with regards to istinshaq, because we have a greater fear, and the greater fear is that you might break your fast. The next hadith, hadith number 37. The last narration, إِذَا تَوَضَّأْتَ فَمَضْمِدْ. The Prophet ﷺ in that narration states that when you take your wudu, then you should gargle. What is the definition of gargling? If the Muslim takes in water into his mouth, he moves it from the left to the right and the right to the left, up and down, and then he swallows this water. Has he followed the sunnah? The answer is no. Madmada is when you gargle your mouth and then you spit out this water. That is madmada according to the sunnah. That is gargling according to the sunnah. If you had drunk the water, then that would not suffice. You have not done it according to the sunnah. Hadith number 37. وعن عثمان رضي الله تعالى عنه أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كان يخلل لحيته في الوضوء أخرجه الترمذي وصححه ابن خزيمة. Uthman radiallahu ta'ala an states that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, when he would take his wudu, then he would make takhleel, he would pass his hands through his beard, remembering that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam had a large full beard. And that's why the Sahaba would say that when they prayed behind him, they could see and they would realize that he was doing recitation, he was making recitation of the Quran by the movement in his beard. So the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam had a large full beard. He would take his fingers and make takhleel, pass his fingers through his beard when he was making his wudu, and this is a sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As for the person who has a very light beard, if the skin can be seen from under, if the skin can be seen from under the beard, then this person has to wash his face. He has to make sure that his skin touches the water and his skin is washed. But if he has a full beard, then it would suffice for him just to pass his hands over the beard and to make takhleel of his beard. Hadith number 37.